Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 6 replays in the Western Alliance Era 3 Tech Tree Light Tank, the Marder A3. Now if you do enjoy the video, as always, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below, as it really does help the channel. And without further ado, the Marder 1A3. It's a pretty damn good light tank in Era 3. If you like Era 3, and light tanks in Era 3, you will enjoy this tank. I hesitate to say it, but I think this is probably the best light tank in Era 3 now. And that is because the ATGM on this tank is phenomenal. And the autocannon, on the 20mm autocannon, is also phenomenal. This tank is incredibly similar to the Marder 1A1, which is not surprising, seeing as it is the A3, which is just the more upgraded version of the 1A1, right? And it's in Era 3. Now, you probably all know at this point what my feelings are on Era 3. I do not like Era 3 in the slightest. That means that I generally just don't enjoy playing this tank that much. But does that mean I can't say this isn't a good tank? No, this is a very good tank. It's very, very capable, as long as an MBT doesn't say you're going to die. And that is a problem for all the light tanks, realistically, in Era 3. Is that if an MBT decides that you are dead, you're going to die. Because they just... well, a lot of them go way faster than you. And they also have ridiculously accurate guns and ridiculously high DPM. And that means that you just will get absolutely farmed. Add to that is one of the downsides for the Marder 1A3, is the fact that you are a big box. You're a very, very boxy light tank, which means you are exceptionally easy to hit. You will not dodge much, really. The thing that is going for you is the assassin gameplay, and that is the fact that you have... just the reload on this ATGM is phenomenal. I can't understate how good the ATGM is. The one big thing about this tank that is very frustrating, though, is that... very silly balancing decisions, really. And that is that the standard ATGM on this tank gets 840 damage for 880 penetration. And you might be going, well... it's a bit low on the damage. It's not really phenomenal, is it? And the penetration at 880 is very good. But yeah, the premium round. The reason you're seeing full premium ATGMs is because the premium ATGM has 950 millimeters of penetration on that premium ATGM. Which is high, and you might be going, well, yeah, they always have high penetration. Yep, but it's got 1,120 damage. Why? I don't know. It's a bit silly, if you ask me, because it means that the standard ATGM is completely irrelevant. Because the standard ATGM actually isn't that good, realistically, because of the damage being quite low at 840. But your premium ATGM is phenomenal. 1,120 damage is fantastic, which is why you're going to load full premium ATGMs. That's what you should do in this tank. Sadly, that is the way it is. Until they decide to rebalance the standard ATGMs and actually give them the same damage, sorry. Higher penetration is fine, because that's what generally happens with premium rounds, but the fact is that the damage between the two is completely different, is pretty annoying, honestly, and it's one of those balancing choices that is a bit like, no, it shouldn't be like that. It really has to be the same damage, and I really do hope that they change that, and I hope they change it pretty quickly. But other than that, like I say, realistically, this tank is a fantastic light tank. This autocannon is beautiful. And if tanks don't pay attention to you, you will shred their HP quite quickly. You saw that a little bit in this game. This was probably a more average game for the tank. We ended up with like 5.1k damage, and we sadly couldn't get back to defend the cap. But yeah, I mean, the tank itself, the Marder 1A3, goes at 82.47 kilometers an hour with the setup I'm going to tell you what I've got. It goes at 82 kilometers an hour, 82.47 kilometers an hour backwards. It goes the same speed forwards as it does backwards, which is absolutely fantastic. It's really quite a useful asset for the tank, really is. You've got 23.46 horsepower per ton ratio as well, which means you will, as you are seeing, hit that top speed. When you stop, by the way, your engine is not very good and you are very, very sluggish. So bear with it until you get the top engine. Your ground resistances are 1.05, 0.43 and 0.38, which means they are absolutely phenomenal. You really don't have to help those whatsoever. They do not hold this tank back. You got a 42.87 degrees a second hull rotation speed with the setup I've got, which is quite nice. It does turn fairly quickly. You got 3.2k HP as well, which is a good slab to take a hit and then deliver these big 1,100 ATGMs into people. Your camo is down at 234 meters of still concealment, which isn't brilliant, but at the same time it's still decent and will help make it so that it takes a little bit longer for them to actually spot you, and it gives you a little bit longer to be able to be the assassin and let you get the drop on the enemy tanks to be able to, you know, deal that massive damage in that ATGM, because that is the asset of the tank. ATGM and then shred with this autocannon. That is the strength of the tank. It's beautiful when it works. And then you've got 655 meters of view range as well, which will help you spot a lot of the Era 3 tanks at a very, very good distance. In terms of the turret rotation, you've got 50.06 turret rotation speed, which is really, really quick. It's way quicker than the tracks, so you don't really have to help it that much. Your accuracy during rotation on this autocannon is 0.40 during the turret rotation and 0.53 on the move, which means this gun, this autocannon, is absolutely phenomenally accurate, which means you do not need gun stabilizer in the slightest, and that's beautiful. To go with that, you've got 0.18 accuracy at 100 meters as well, with a 1.44 aim time, which, yeah, it's beautiful. The gun, this 20mm autocannon on this tank, is absolutely beautiful, and the rate of fire is phenomenal. That's why this tank completely invalidates the BMP. I mean, I've never played the BMP3, but just looking at the stats, and having played against the BMP3 a lot, I feel like this tank completely invalidates it, which is a sad time for the BMP, realistically. Really, really sad time for that tank. But yeah, this autocannon is absolutely beautiful. It really, really is. And add to that, you've got that 10.67 second reload on the ATGMs. Oh, it loads them so fast. It feels like you fire the ATGM and then you're just ready to go again. And you're just ready to fire, and you just the damage just keeps racking up and racking up and racking up. Like I say, it is a very, very good light tank. That's why this is why I say I think it is probably now the best light tank in Era 3, even though it's technically an entry era light tank, just because it's got so many good assets. Naturally, I can't. That's why I hesitate to say it, right? Because I can't say that because I've not experienced really playing any of the other light tanks. But it's just what it feels like. The other light tanks feel like they're stuck at such a disadvantage, and this thing just comes along and goes, ATGM, shred! And, yeah, it's something that is not really in Era 3 that much with many of the light tanks, except for if you were in something like a Malo, which is a light, heavy, TD, bad, terrible, awfully overpowered tank, you know? So yeah, this second game, you can see, is what happens when an MBT says you die. Also, how fast you shred things. This thumper is dead. He's gone. But Charlie 2 said, absolutely not. You put an ATGM right up my buttocks, and I'm not having that. And he just charged after us and killed us, and there's no getting away from that, sadly. When we finish with that second class, the Confederate, the 1284 base XP. Pretty decent game there for the Marder A3. We played that little playstyle where we just sort of kept slapping in the shots as much as we could, but then we ended up just getting charged down by an MBT and dying, which is, again, this is what happens. So what do I run in terms of a crew on the Marder 1A3? Well, pretty much the same as I've done on the Bagel Panzer and the A1. I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, Dead Eye, and Camouflage Expertise. Camouflage Expertise just to make the camo a little bit better, because we're a light tank, it's nice to stay on spotted for that little bit extra time. Dead Eye to make sure that this gun, because of the autocannon, it just increases the chance of doing module damage for every single shell that enters the enemy tank, and that is a lot of shells if you're firing this autocannon, so the chance of possible fires and stuff like that is why we do it. Clutch braking to make this tank turn on the sixpence a little bit quicker, because that is something that's quite nice, because obviously you want to have the good mobility in Era 3, because every other tank has absolutely phenomenal mobility, so you really want to make sure that you're buffing it up as much as possible. Then the two gun perks like Steady Aim and Run and Gun, just to make this gun even more phenomenal than it already is, so that you can actually hit the shots. But with the stats like it is, with the tank, with the, you know, the setup, or should I say the fully equipped stats like I've just told you, you might not actually need at least Run and Gun, because the accuracy in that on the move and during the rotation of the turret and the general accuracy in general is already phenomenal. I mean, you could actually, to be fair, you could probably keep Run and Gun just to make the accuracy during the move better, and then take Steady Aim off and put something else on that you want to use, right? It's completely down to you and how you want to set up the tank. And in terms of equipment, I run the Advanced Loader, the Powertrain, and Traction System. Advanced Loader to make my DPM 10% better. It's always nice to have that really, really good reload. the powertrain to make it so that I have a better top speed, and same as the traction system, which also helps our track traverse. And that helps us get up to that 82 kilometers an hour top speed. Because obviously without those two components, you are going to be a little bit slow. And, well, slow for the era, I should say. It's not really slow, but you are slow for the era. So it's what you want to be doing. Oh, hello, Mr. Weasel. I didn't even realise, but this thing is actually really quite nice against weasels as well, by the way. Because, yeah, sure, they may hit you for, like, 1400, but then you shred pretty much all of their hit points with the autocannon, and you've got an ATGM that can destroy them quite easily to boot as well. And if you manage to track them with that autocannon, oh, good night, Mr. Weasel. I've killed quite a few of them so far. But I didn't mean to ram into that guy. He just appeared, and it was like, oh, God, hello, Mr. Weasel. Good night, Mr. Weasel. Pest control at your service. And, you know, we got rid of it. So yeah, this is the third game in the Marder 1A3, and we are on Heilbronn, and you've seen so far, we're up to 5.1k damage with 1250 assistance, and we're just looking for the ATGM into this thumper, and I was thinking of going over, but this tank, he's fired by the way, which is why we're going over. This tank has the same problem as the Marder 1A1, and you've just seen that there, that we can depress this autocannon down to 10 degrees of gun depression. So, like, on that ridgeline, I could see that guy with my autocannon quite easily, but I switched to my ATGM launcher, and I couldn't get it down to shoot the thumper. So it's something that is, again, a bit of a problem for this tank, like the 1A1, in that you do struggle to get the gun tube down at times with the ATGM to get the shots on. And, oh, by the way, Shred City. Oh, this is where it's so deadly. When you manage to catch an MBT out, oh, that is good. It is so juicy. Oh, by the way, fumble. Absolute fumble of the ATGM there. But yeah, it can be a little bit irritating with the ATGM launcher at times, just because of it's basically like 1 degree of gun depression or 2 degrees or something like that, which means that you do struggle to get it down at times over the ridgeline where you're thinking, if you were machine gunning someone and then go, oh yes, ATGM, and then instantly switch and press the trigger, you might not realise that you're actually going to fly over the target. We finished that third game with the 4 kills, Fire and Forget medal, the ATGM expert. 4 kills, 9,300 damage, 1,600 base XP, a pretty damn nice game there for the old 1A3. And we're on to the fourth replay, and the fourth replay is Ruinberg, and you might be going, Ruinberg, not the best map for a light tank, and you'd be correct. It's not the best map for a light tank in the universe. And you might be going, you're going to town in a light tank? Yeah, because what we're going to be is that mobile support launcher with an ATGM. And that is, we are going to back up this 4778 and this M1 Abrams. And by doing that, we're going to wait for them to basically take the hit and deliver the ATGM punch. Or wait for them to fire. So both thumpers fire here, we pop over, slap the ATGM in, pull back. And we're just being careful, watching the corner behind us to see what they're doing. You can see I'm looking around the corner with the camera, watching what they're doing. One of the thumpers fires at my 477A, and we take the opportunity to slap the ATGM in and shut one of them down. Because again, they're going to struggle with a 477A, so naturally we use his armor to our advantage and then be the support. So once again, he's fired, we fire the ATGM, and now the thumper is tracked. So what we're doing, we're trying to find that spot where we can pen it with the autocannon. You can see we're aiming for that little bit lip on the engine deck, and we pen quite a few of the shots there. But we sadly weren't keeping him tracked though. Now the thumpers are dead, we're going to go try and help the middle of the map. So we see an M1 Abrams. It's like, can I get the M1 Abrams? No, I can't quite get the shot into that guy. Just scanning the top of that ledge up there along the E-line, just to make sure that nothing was going to shoot me from the top if I go after the M1, which we do, slap the ATGM in, and shut him down. We switch back to the autocannon in case of a light tank or something like that comes after us. But once again, look how fast this ATGM is reloaded. This ATGM is back in the tube. 11.4 seconds reload, which doesn't seem right, because I've got 10.67 reload on my screen right here. Okay, sure. Oh, that might actually be because, brain has clicked into gear. This is the stock ATGM launcher tube. That is why you're seeing a slightly worse. Oh, good night. Good night, BMP. Yeah, because these are actually, I think the next two replays are fully upgraded, but these ones you're seeing before are actually the stock gun 20mm and ATGM launcher, so obviously their reloads are slightly worse, which is why it's 11.47 seconds reload. So we're going after the 477A. We track it with the ATGM, slap the shots in with the 20mm autocannon, take a hit, and the first shot that hits us sets us on fire. It's a regular occurrence for the Marder 1A3. If you get hit in that front end, or basically in the middle of the tank or in the back end, you're getting lit on fire. You do have to be very, very careful of that. And unfortunately, I'd used my repair kit, which meant that now I'm ammo-racked, which is really quite painful. But we're still trying our best to keep the autocannon firing. And again, once you end up in a position like that, where you've got an MBT side on or with their rear who aren't paying attention to you, you just absolutely shred them. They really don't have a hope in hell of keeping their hit points. We fire the ATGM, slap it into the top of the turret of the 1A2, and he gets shut down with that. And we finish the game with a really nice total there on Ruinberg for the Marder 1A3. We finish with the epic victory, 4 kills, 11,262 damage, a bit of assistance, ATGM expert, fire and forget, high caliber, the first class, 1,704 base XP. Again, a really nice game there for the Marder 1A3. And then we're on to the fourth replay. No, fourth? That was the fourth. This is the fifth replay of this video. And it probably says a lot about Era 3 that we're going to get 6 full replays in this video in about 5 minutes longer than all the others were, with 4 replays. It says a lot about Era 3, really, because Era 3 games are fast and furious. It's one of the reasons I don't really like it. They are truly fast and furious gameplay. It's just done slam shut in 3 to 4 minutes. There's quite a few times where games end up exactly like that Thiepval Ridge game that happened, where we rotated all the way around the map and they rotated all the way around the map, and the team that doesn't go back to defend the cap quick enough basically loses. It's one of the reasons I don't like Era 3, and yeah, the other reason is just MBT's smash, which is just a bit boring for me. But this McCarver is suffering the problem here of the Marder 1A3. We got one shot straight through his lower plate. We've just fired one into his side. He's not managed to hit us once yet, and it's like, well, hello, Mr. McCarver, you know, you can shoot me once if you want to. Oh, that's through your lower plate for 1,100, and he's dead. And we've done 3.4k damage before the first minute of the battle is out. And like I say, that's just how deadly this tank can be. We launch an ATGM after the Thumper, but I think we just hit a destructible covered truck. And I decide, okay, you know what? Cheeky breaky time. We cross the gap in the middle, don't take a hit, which is beautiful, and we now go after this McCarver. That ATGM somehow flies wide, and now we've got the next McCarver with our autocannon shredding. It's like, hello, Mr. McCarver. The ATGM is in. It's like, hello. Oh. Oops. And, yeah, we didn't fire the whole clip of the 20mm autocannon. I do keep doing that. It's really frustrating. But, yeah, you've got to be careful because of the way that the ATGM launches out of the launcher. It launches from the right-hand side of the tube, but it actually, when you're firing the main ATGM, it actually looks like you're firing from the center of the tank, so it looks like it flies from the right-hand side of the screen. It's something to bear in mind that sometimes if you're leading a target, you really need to be careful of that. And that's how I missed the McCarver, realistically, is because I was basically aiming for his back end, but it fired from my right-hand side, and therefore it just flew past on the right-hand side, right? So, we're on Ruinberg again, and we're up to 5.3k damage. Like you've seen, we are playing the Assassin Cheeky Breeky light tank. So this Leopard gets spotted, we go for that drive wheel shot, 1,000 damage, straight in, and we pull back and get safe. We've got a bit of assistance there because he took a few hits. We're up to 1,959 damage. And again, we're just trying to be that cheeky breeky assassin. So we go for the lower plate, the Leopard 2A5. He hits us for like 500. We hit him for 300, sad times, because it didn't really go through his lower plate. It's going to be a bit awkward to get those shells through. And I'm thinking, right, okay, what do I want to do? Well, I want to be on the other side. So I pop smoke here to obscure his view of me. And I cross to the other side of the buildings like that, just in case he goes back to defend his base, because he's got to. He starts to charge. Oh, Neo! We're in the Matrix, people, and this man Bob in his 2A5 has taken the red pill. Oh, he dodged that shell like a boss, and we unfortunately didn't quite get the shell in. I'm just watching him and I'm thinking, oh, is he going to stop focusing me? I'm watching him around the corner. He is not. We wait to get unspotted. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go round so I can get a shot into your rear, sir, because I'm not having this. And, I don't want to be focused by an MBT. So we're going to flank and spank round the corner. I thought it was fairly obvious, but he's actually come chasing after me where I was. And There he is. He's not found us. We slap the ATGM in for 994, and it's machine gun time. And he's gone. Good night, Mr. 2A5. So we now load the next ATGM. We get shot by the MBT-80 in behind. We launched the ATGM because I was kind of hoping that he'd pop back out, but he doesn't. My driving is excellent. Do not doubt my driving. And this is where having camo and not being spotted helps. Did you see that? That MBT-80 looked for us, but we were unspotted, so he couldn't see us, but he spotted the guys in the cap, so he shot at them instead. That's where having camo and not being spotted helps. This thumper in the middle is dead. He's dead as a dodo. We launched the ATGM into his rear, breaks his engine, and that poor guy, oh, he just disintegrated. We find the next target, which is a Mark 11 Chieftain, which is Armour on wheels for an ATGM. If you get an ATGM through the drive wheel of a Chieftain Mark 11, it's losing its head. But we unfortunately missed the first one. I know I've got the hit points to take a shot from this Mark 11, so we slap a shot in for 1200, and with the autocannon having 214 penetration, we know we can go straight through his poor lower plate, and we shut down the Chieftain Mark 11 there with the autocannon. We finished with the epic victory, 3 kills, 12,047 damage. Nearly 2k assistance, the ace tanker, the fire and forget medal, the high caliber, 1743 base XP, a pretty damn nice game there for the Marder 1A3 on Ruinberg. And we are finally onto the final replay of this video. The end of the grind for the new German Cold War light tank / tank destroyer line, which honestly, it's been pretty damn fun. Because the RU was great fun. The Canonier Jagdpanzer 4.5 is not my kind of tank whatsoever, but it's a pretty good tank destroyer. You've just got to know where to put yourself and make sure you're not going to get, you're not in too aggressive a spot to get YOLO'd by the light tanks, essentially. And be careful not getting, smashed by 4005s as well, which is always a Era 1 problem in general. The Rickety Panzer, the Raketen Panzer, or Raketen Jagdpanzer 2, anyway, is unique. For Era 2, it's really quite a unique tank, and it is a lot of fun to play. That double ATGM launch is pretty damn nice. The mobility on it's nice. The camo on it is so dirty. You can sneak up on so many people. It's beautiful. It's one of the ultimate assassins in Era 2, and it's beautiful for that. The Marder 1A1, which is the little brother to this tank, is honestly a phenomenal tank. I think I might prefer it to the Bagel Panzer, but I'm not 100%. I've got to play them a little bit more to decide which one I prefer out of the two. But I do love its autocannon over the 57mm of the Bagel Panzer. But the Bagel Panzer has amazing ATGMs as opposed to the 1A1 as well. Then you got the Bagel Panzer, which, like I say, has phenomenal ATGMs, is really quite mobile. It's just really nice tank to play in general. You can have a hell of a lot of fun with it. And it's definitely a lovely tank to play in Era 2, and it's the top of Era 2, which is always great, because Era 2 is probably the best era of Cold War, because there's so much variety, it's a hell of a lot of fun. And then you've got this tank, the Marder 1A3. Like I say, if you like Era 3, this light tank is a very, very good light tank, because it's very good against all the other light tanks, because this machine gun is phenomenal. And then you've also got ridiculously fast-firing ATGMs, which blitz enemy tanks so well, and the only real downside to it is that it's a little bit slower than a lot of the tanks at 82 kilometers an hour, and that's because you have to have the full speed build to hit that 82 kilometers an hour. It's a little bit slower than quite a few tanks, which means, or on par with quite a few tanks, which means you struggle to outrun things sometimes. And if an MBT, like I say, which is a light tank problem really in Era 3, that if an MBT says smash and says you're going to die, there's not much you can do about it, except for try and dodge it and then slam these ATGMs home if you can. But it is, saying that, a very, very good light tank. It's a very, very good tank. It's an assassin. Again, it's that assassin. They all have that somewhat similar thing. You try not to be the focus, the center of attention. You get yourself into a position where you can use these lovely ATGMs, keep the ATGMs flowing, and then shred things with the autocannon, and you will have a great time. And we're on this 6th and final replay. We are on Fred Vang. And on Fredvang, we're up to 2.8k damage with 1504 assistance. We've managed to get some nice ATGMs off from our little position over there. We lost a bit of health because we sat and took a shell from the other at Marder 1A3, which was a little bit silly. We try and get some autocannon shots into the Thumper, which we get a few in, but not many. We're trying to see if we can get an ATGM into the Thumper or the Leopard 2 that's on the hill over in the distance. And we're just watching it. The Thumper drives out, we fire the ATGM, but he pulls back and gets himself safe. Something fires from our left, and it's like, oh, it's a Chieftain Mark 11. Okay then. Well, let's see if we can go get this Chieftain Mark 11 out of this game. I don't fear a Chieftain Mark 11 whatsoever. There is no fear in me whatsoever about that tank. That tank has no fear factor. It's just a terrible tank. And we slam the shot in with the ATGM, and this is just brutally disgusting. The perfect amount of rounds to shut down that Chieftain Mark 11. We took his whole hit points in the blink of an eye. That was 3.3k and gone. Just like that. And that's where this tank is an assassin, like I say, and it is beautiful. We try and get the ATGM from this Marder A3 into the back of that Leopard 2, but it misses, because it's something you've got to be careful of with this tank, is that the ATGM does have 200 meters a second shell velocity, which is very slow. That's on the slower end of the ATGMs in Era 3, so be very, very careful of that. That guy moving at full speed found it pretty damn easy to get away from that ATGM. But we did manage to absolutely slam him with the autocannon, which we've just got another Chieftain Mark 11 with the ATGM. Managed to get the 1A1 with the autocannon and get rid of that guy as well. That was 2 kills in very quick succession. And now we're hunting for the next one, which is this Leclerc. We don't want to leave a tank directly behind us, so we're going to go after this guy. Once again, if we can catch this guy off guard, because the whole name of the game for this tank is catching people unawares, and that's what we're going to try and do. It's like, hello, Mr. Leclerc. ATGM in. Sadly, we blocked the friend's shot there, which I'm sorry, friend. I didn't mean that. I was just charging into position to use my ATGM. And we assassinate that Leclerc. Good night, Mr. Leclerc. Just like that, 8.5k damage, 5 kills. 1,721 base XP? No? Brain? Work? Spotting damage. Spotting. My brain sometimes. You know, it likes to fart. We all like farting in life, and the brain likes to fart sometimes, and it is what it is. So, yeah, there's 2 tanks left. And I'm thinking, because they've both got kills, so they're not AFK, so I don't feel like they're anywhere near their base, because we've already been down there. I'm feeling they're probably going to be behind this hill. Look at the spread of the team. This makes me think they're going to be behind this hill at, like, B3, trying to shoot the people on the hill. So we're going to get up behind them and see if we can surprise them. And we can give them a dose of surprise attack with the ATGMs. Look at that, straight into the... Oh, good night, Mr. Leopard. Off with his head. We fire the ATGM straight into the back of the turret of the Leopard, 2A5, which was where his ammo rack was. It detonates it. Good night, Mr. Leopard. And we're up to 11,338 damage with 6 kills so far, and there is 1 tank left. It's like, where is this guy? I was expecting him to be up here too, but I can't find him. I don't really know where he is. So what we're going to do is clear out that little dip behind the cap. So what I'm thinking is maybe he's gone to hide in the little dip that is behind our cap, which would throw us off because not everyone might expect him to be there. It's the only place I can think of because our guys were all on the hill. They didn't see him. And in fact, there he is. I didn't notice him until now. And then someone pings it. It's like, hang on a minute. He's there. Hello, sir. Well, we launched the ATGM, aiming for his drive wheel there. It flies through. And we're now just going to drop the autocannon. Once again, I know I can survive a shot or two from this guy. We've launched the ATGM. This time we should hopefully kill it. Aim for the lower plate, but it ends up hitting the upper plate. 337. So instead, we're going to just keep launching this autocannon at him. Again, I know that I'm going to reload in time. I can still take a hit from this guy. Get the ATGMs out once again. Lower plate shot straight in. And good night, Mr. Type 85-2M. We finished the game with a really great total for the Marder 1A3 there. We're finished with the victory. 7 kills, 13,142 damage, 1,887 base experience. The 7 kills, the Fire and Forget medal, the ATGM Expert, Western Firepower for 7 kills, Top Gun High Caliber. Really, really nice game there for the Marder 1A3, which, like I say, is such a solid light tank in Era 3. If you enjoy Era 3, you'll probably enjoy this light tank. It's not one that I'll probably play very often at all because, yeah, I just don't like Era 3. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.